correct. We will generally say about, that what is our name, isn't it? Like generally we start like that, right? My name is, Sharad, right? My name is Keshav, and so on, right? And then we go ahead. So most of the time, why I am asking you this question is, who are you? Because we are just trying to develop or give an external personality, introduction of ourselves. So we are just trying to define ourselves based on some identity that we are at the moment, isn't it? Say now I am in the engineering college, for example. I am studying in SPIT. So then your understanding will be what? Who are you? So your holistic understanding will be that okay, my name is so and I study in the Sardar Patel Institute of Technology, isn't it? So basically, you're identifying yourself, with your name, isn't it right? With your college, with your house, isn't it? So many things are there, right? So, but just let me ask you a very logical question. That if I take you back, maybe in your childhood days, and this is not just childhood days, but very early, right? At the time of birth, you know, if I would have asked the same question to you, that who are you? What would be your answer? Because at that time, even your name giving ceremony had not taken place. So, what will you tell about it? Now you can tell, okay, you are so and so, you study in SPIT, but just imagine, if the same question, if I place, right, sometime back in the time frame, so we will be completely bewildered, isn't it? Right? So, and that is what is we are trying to actually explore. So this whole series of sessions is actually trying to explore that who we are, what is the surrounding that we are trying to live in, how I can live a very happy go life, how I can go very peaceful. Can I become very peaceful based on just the scripture, based on some some modern ways of understanding things, modern ways of understanding life, or there is more permanent solution, right? That how I can become actually happy. So there is this scientist, gentleman, Dr. Harry Monson. He has given this understanding. Generally, if you ask any doctor what is love all about, you know what answer you will get from a doctor? The doctor will actually tell you that there is so and so hormone in the body which gets secreted, and then the signals are sent to the brain, and then the brain responds back, and there is a kind of so and so enzyme gets released, and that is the feeling of love. Right? So that is his understanding about love. But the same understanding, if you ask to a normal person who is not a doctor, right, an engineer or anybody else, his understanding will be completely different, isn't it? If you ask a physics person about love, probably he will tell that it is a kind of he will try to explain differently, right? They all have a different framework of reference. So similarly, this question, who are you? If you ask somebody like this medicine, the doctor, so look here what Dr. Harry Monson says. He says something interesting about who are we. So he says, that we are actually you know made up of all of these elements. Right? So he says that we are made up of water, and then so many chemicals are there. Right? So most of our body constitutes about all of these elements. Right? So chemically, he is trying to speak, right? Because he is a professor of anatomy. So he is understanding about who we are, what is our personality. Right? So he is giving a chemical understanding, and he has broken. And then he did something more to this. That means if you say that okay, our body is made up of these chemicals, that means if I include all these chemicals together in a raw state, that means I should get my body back, right? But then he found something interesting. He said that if we try to include these chemicals back together, iodine, phosphate, sulfur, whatever our body is chemically made up of, he tried to weight it, and he tried to get the cost of that, and it has come to only 110 rupees, surprisingly. Right? That means your whole personality, your whole your whole body worth rupees 110 only. That means, let's say if you are going on Lonavala or Khandala, or Mahabaleshwar, wherever, whichever is your favorite hill spot, and let's say if a person is going to that hill spot in say Mercedes-Benz car or say Lamborghini, one of the very costliest car, worth almost 2 crore rupees, right? Indian rupees. So if you are choosing, to go in such a costly car, let's say, Mercedes-Benz 50 lakhs. So that means if you are going with that 50 lakh rupees car, and on the way the person meets with an accident. So when the person meets with an accident, what happens is, the car is injured, and the person is also injured. So whom you will take first to the doctor, Keshav?
The human.
Okay, so we have Shivam also. Shivam, you are able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Today. So, yeah, so take the and we will, not take the car. But logically speaking, monetary wise, if you think logically, the person is worth only 110 rupees, according to this doctor, this gentleman, Dr. Harry Monson, according to his chemical analysis. And the car worth almost 50 lakh rupees, the Mercedes-Benz car. So then still you take the person to the hospital first. Why? What do you think?
It's a living thing, first of all.
Okay, so yes, correct. It's a living thing. So what? Because you have tried to worth it on yourself, right? You have actually tried to weigh that what it is actually, right? So based on the calculation, it is just like, for example, let's say if you have 1 lakh rupees with you, and if you have 10 rupees, and whom you will try to save first, right? The 1 lakh rupees or the 10 rupees? You will be worried about 1 lakh rupees, isn't it? So if I give you a similar justification for this particular case also, right, wherein a person is there which costs only 110 rupees, and there is 50 lakh rupees, what is the comparison? No comparison, right? So that means, that goes to show that there is something more in a person, right, which makes the person more valuable than that Mercedes-Benz car also. I hope you are able to understand, right, the logic and reason of ours, right? Because we are all engineers and we have to think logically, right? We just can't believe it, anything and everything, right? So that means that there is something in our body apart from this 110 rupees, which scientists or this medical doctors, in their syllabus, there is nothing more than matter, isn't it? Isn't it, right? Science doesn't include anything about other than matter. What you will study in the whole science and technology will be how to deal with matter, right? Everything is about matter. You take any engineering, like I did my computer science engineering, right? From our college, SPIT, right? whether you are in EXTC, right, Keshav? Shubham, you are in civil, right? Shivam, right? Shivam, you I'm not able to hear. Maybe you can put out on the chat as well. Maybe you're maybe in a little not so quiet environment. No problem. So right. So if you see that we are all in different, you know, and in all the departments you will see is something about matter, matter, matter. Right. There is no understanding about other than matter. But then if you go by that, then logically you are denying your own philosophy. Because logically, then the person in an accident costs only 110 rupees, and whereas the car, which makes an accident, it costs 50 lakh rupees, isn't it? So that means, it is like a self-refutation. You have refuted your own self, right? So what is it? That is what is today's session all about. Okay, so who is she? Any guess? At once upon a time, she was a beauty queen. Of course, it was once upon a time, right? And it changes, every now and then. So, this is Zoya Khan, right? So she was once upon a time a beauty queen, but then what had happened? If you look at this picture, you know who is the second picture? Any guess, Keshav?
Looks the same.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, so it is the same person, right? The chemicals are the same, but what has happened? There is one difference, but in the state of both of these persons. You know what is the difference?
One is alive, one is not alive.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then the chemicals are same, right? In both of them. So scientifically or chemically, to be more specific, chemically you cannot prove, right, that both are different. Both are having the same substances. Both are having the same chemicals chemically. But then still, right? One has feelings, one has thinking, desires, movement, and consciousness, and the other doesn't have anything of it. So same body, but what has changed is the soul has gone away, isn't it? The soul has gone away. Just give me a moment. Yeah, so same body, but the soul has gone away, right? Okay. So here is little horrifying picture, and this is again, we will try to understand. Can you guess what is this picture all about? This is also an interview question, right? What this picture portrays? Any guess? Keshav, Shubham, Shivam.
like we start and end at the same point, and it's like infinite. Life comes and life goes.
Wow, amazing. Thank you. Yes, very correct. Nice. Yeah. So this picture displays there are many forms of life. There is not only one particular form which is human being. When you say living being, the living being doesn't restrict only to the human beings, right? The living beings includes even the animals, the beasts, the birds, the reptiles, right? The insects, even trees, isn't it? Trees are also living beings, right? We have heard about the famous research done by Jagdish Chandra Bose, right? So he proves like that. So trees also have life. So what happens to us, you know, at the time of death is that we leave one body and we accept the another body. It may not be necessary, in the human species only, right? Isn't it, right? Can you guarantee that, what will be, the next life? First of all, many people, they don't believe in the next life. They think that there is only one life. So they think eat, drink, and be merry. That's what we were discussing, I think, right? If you remember. Last session or last session, we were thinking like that. The people have no much understanding about life, and they think that there is only one life. But then it is exactly like an owl, right? In a conversation once with the pigeon, the owl says that I don't believe in sun. So the pigeon says that how fool you are. Just by your believing or not believing, it's not that the sun doesn't exist, right? So it doesn't depend on the foolish belief of the owl, that there is no sun. Similarly, you know, whether a person may believe it or not believe, right? You know, these forms of life are definitely going to be taken. That is what is given in the Vedic scriptures as well. So what happens, to us, at the time of death is, yeah, can you read this from the Bhagavad Gita?
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time.
Yes, please go ahead.
He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into
Like, come into being and we will not come into being. Right? So who is that he? That he is referring to the spirit soul. So very clearly, Krishna tells to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita that the soul, that means there is no death for the soul. But other place in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells to Arjuna very clearly that when we die, it's not that the soul has died. It is the body which actually perishes, which dies. The soul is eternal. This is what has been said here. Yeah, please go ahead.
He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Correct. So this is in the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 20th verse. So very clearly Krishna gives, because again, in the last session we discussed that why we are taking these words, because firstly, science has no clue, no understanding about all the subject matter. And secondly, even if we are to take, some of the opinions of the scientists and so on, right? It will be not very perfect truth, right? It will be very imperfect, relative truth. We studied that in the last session, right? Because their approach is what? Pratyaksh Praman or Anuman Praman. But an intelligent person will know that will I hear any Tom, Dick, and Harry, or will I hear somebody who has manufactured, right? Somebody who who is the right? Who is the maker of the machine. So we should always take help of the bona fide sources. Right? So Krishna is telling to Arjuna because he has the full wisdom. Krishna is all knowledgeable and he has given that Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante ma buddha bhava samanvita. It tells to Arjuna very beautifully that I am the owner, I am the proprietor of everything that exists. Krishna says that I have created all these beings. So in the various scriptures, if you read, very interesting it is. So it is given that there are not only one species of life, there are 84 lakh species of life. My God. It is very huge. 80 species of. So that means, there is not only, one species, there are 84 lakh species. Yeah. Again, here is a comparison between body and soul, right? So the body is made up of matter, the soul is made up of spirit. The body is not conscious, whereas the soul is conscious. The body changes, at certain point of time, isn't it? Right? Like all of our body, if you see, if you just look your photograph, some maybe 10 years back or 15 years back, right? Probably you will look totally different, isn't it? Right? So many changes have happened. Your voice may have also got changed quite a lot. Your form, your appearance, your hairstyle, whatever, right? But for the soul, there is no change. The soul exists the same, what it was even at the time of birth, right? Even before the conception, and now also, right? You are still Keshav, right? You are still Shivam. You have not changed your identity. Right? But the body is temporary, whereas the soul is eternal. The body is dead, and whereas the soul is alive. Right? Again, in case if you feel any, not very comfortable at any point of time, feel free to interrupt in between. Right? We'll try to clarify. So you are not the body that you see in the mirror, isn't it? Right? So you are Atma also. Just like when you see a car, you may think that the car is moving, but then actually who is moving the car? The person inside the car is moving, isn't it? Similarly, there is an analogy given, in the various scriptures that how, the person who is a driver of the car, he is just as he is compared with the soul in our body. So the spiritual viewpoint is what? That we are not the material body of flesh and bones, but we are spirit soul engaged in the material body. So we do not die when material body stops to function. Yeah, so this is the analogy that I was telling about. Just as the driver has all this functionality, the car exactly has a similar functionality, right? So I have compared, right? The legs of the driver are compared with the tires of a car. So the car, but surprisingly, although the car also possesses almost the same things, but still, the car cannot budge and 1 inch also, right, without the driver. Similarly, our body also has everything, and it is the same body when we are alive and when we are dead also. But then the body is termed dead without the presence of the driver, the soul. So the body cannot move even an inch. Okay, so people they say that then if they if you say that the body cannot move even an inch without the driver, without the soul, what about the autopilot mode, right? Or what about the robot? So, isn't it right? We are all living in the artificial intelligence age, right? People they speak about AI these days. It is also a very good question. Don't you think like that? What do you think, Keshav?
So could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was telling that we are all living in this AI world, right? Artificial intelligence. So people they say that okay, if you say that the body cannot move an inch also, so similarly, sorry, the car cannot move, an inch also, right, without a driver. Similarly, when you say that the body cannot move without the soul, right? So the argument given is that what do you know? What about the robots? What about the artificial, the intelligence? So it seems that they are moving without the soul, right? The robot and things like that, or the powerful computer. What do you think?
So like they are operating, but they don't have a thing that humans, the man have. It's like the consciousness. They don't have consciousness or awareness.
Okay, brilliant, very nice. Yes, exactly. So there was this experiment being done that okay, there is a drama being performed on the stage, and now this drama was being seen by two people. One was a living people, that means the judges. They observed the dramas at one side, and the other side you can see the camera, the video. The lens is also seeing the drama.
I'm sorry. Baby, I'm sorry.
I can't do this anymore.
I don't know what else to do. Tell me what to do.
Okay, so so now you tell me that both of these people they saw the drama, right? The judges also observed this drama, whereas the lens was also observing the same drama. You think both had, got the same kind of experience? What do you think? So the
No.
lens has no experience, isn't it? Right? Whereas the eyes of the judge, they had so much experience. Isn't it? Right? The lens has no emotions, isn't it? Whereas the judges, they have,
Emotion.
they can give the, they can actually feel, right? The sorrow, anger, etc. The lens doesn't have any consciousness, as you said very rightly. Right? So no judging practically. Right? Whereas the judges are able to judge, isn't it? So three major differences between a living body and a robot is what? Right? That the living body undergoes six changes while matter only dwindles. What are the six changes we will discuss? Right? A male and female living body can multiply similar species, right? The machines cannot reproduce by union. Have you heard? One computer laptop came in touch with Dell laptop, and then something like XP laptop got reproduced, right? It's not the case like that. Whereas a living body has consciousness, thinking, feeling, and willing, while matter has no consciousness. Yeah. So what are the six changes? So every living body undergoes the six changes. The first is, it comes into existence, right? Takes birth, and after that, the body grows, isn't it? And then you have to maintain that. and then when they come together, they produce some byproducts, right? And then they start to dwindle, right? They get old and then finally they die, isn't it? You will not see all these phenomena, in any matter. So yes, the matter will have some of it, but it will not have all the 6 changes. The matter will, yes, you can say at one point of time, you have to make it. So yes, you can say in one sense the birth happens, but then the growth doesn't happen. But you not see, at one point of time, my laptop grew in size. Right? It will not happen like that. So yes, you may have to maintain it, but then no byproducts happens. And yes, it may also get worn out. Finally, it will also die, right? But then every living body will undergo all of these 6 changes. So that is the way how we understand the difference between a living body and a dead body or a dead matter. Yeah. So at the time of birth, we were all very young, right? But then as the time passes, so there is a beautiful verse in the Bhagavad Gita, very beautifully describes about this phenomenon of 6 changes. It says very nicely, in the Bhagavad Gita, it describes very nicely. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. So the Bhagavad Gita explains very nicely that at the time of birth, we were all very young, Kaumar, and then we were all young, after some time, right? So we came into Yauvan Avastha, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara, and then our body started to dwindle, that is Jara. And then Tatha Deha Antara Praptir. The Bhagavad Gita explains that what happens to us at the time of Anta, Tatha Deha Antara Prapti. So that we get the Prapti, we get the next life. Very clearly it is mentioned, no ambiguity. Not perhaps it may have been like this or maybe it have been like this, right? It's not an Anuman Praman. Very clearly, precisely it is given. And that is what we understood in the last session, that this is the power of Shabda Praman. There is no ambiguity and the knowledge is perfect, absolute. Okay, so now we are going to see something very interesting, because now we understood that by logic and reason that our body is not only just made up of matter, but there is something else also apart from the matter, which makes this body more valuable, so that in an accident you actually care for the body more, right? So you actually care for your body rather than some machines or some other matter, isn't it? So that goes to show that our body. So then now it becomes very important for us to understand that what is our body actually comprises of. So the outer body is called as a gross body. Just like, let's say I am wearing this shirt. So when I am wearing this shirt can be treated as a gross body, the external, the top covering. And what is this gross body made up of? So interestingly, we all know, right, the Panch Mahabhut, right? The earth, water, fire, air and ether, right? So these 5 comprises the gross body, isn't it? Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, right? So Bhumi is earth, Bhumi, Apo, Anala, Vayu, Kham, right? So earth, water, fire, air and ether. And very surprisingly, as you move from earth to ether, right, in the clockwise direction, one property gets reduced, and this property, the gross properties are getting reduced one by one. Look, earth, earth can be, touched, earth can be smelled, earth can be, you can look at the earth, आप उसको छू सकते हो, उसको सूंघ सकते हो, right? You can see it with your eyes, you can feel it, whatever, right? Everything is there in the earth. So earth is the most gross element. But then when you go one step up, you go to water element. Now water element, now can you tell me that what is missing in the water which is there in the earth? One property is missing in water, which was there in the earth. Can you tell me what?
Rigidity.
Okay, rigidity. Good. Anything else? especially in terms of the five senses that we have, right? So we can, with our skin, we can touch the earth. So practically everything you can do with the earth. Our five senses are there, right? Eyes, nose, you can smell it, you can taste it, right? With the tongue, you can you can see it. Everything is there, right? But one property is less in water. Can you tell me what?
It doesn't have a taste.
Yes, perfect. Very nice. Okay, now if you go to fire, one more property gets reduced. Can you guess what? Which was there in earth, which was there in water also, but now in fire it is not there.
Technically, you can't touch fire without being hurt.
Okay, correct. Yes, correct. Perfect. Okay, and if you go to air, one more property gets reduced like that. There is a missing of one more property in the air as compared to fire, as compared to water, as compared to earth.
You can't see it.
Yes, perfectly. So, and then if you go to ether,
It's just empty.
yes. So can I say I can only feel ether, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can just feel the presence of ether. So rather you can only hear because sound travels through ether, right? If there was no ether, we couldn't hear anything actually. Maybe the Zoom class council may not be able to hear. It's just because that that there is ether that we are having this hearing ability. Great, wonderful. So that is a gross body. So now, as you are moving from earth to ether in the clockwise direction, the subtleness, it's called as subtleness. It is becoming more subtle or more abstract, you can say. So one property is getting reduced and it is turning towards very subtle. That means you can't see, you can't hear now, you can't do anything with that. And now comes inside the gross body, which is like the banyan, right? So you wear inside the shirt the banyan, right? So normally, you will not be able to see that, isn't it? And what is the subtle body made up of? The subtle body is made up of three elements, right? Which are they? So there are mind, intelligence, and ego, right? So this also goes in the clockwise direction. The subtleness keeps on going high. So look, much more subtle than the ether is the mind, isn't it? If I ask you, where is your mind? What you will say?
It's like mind is abstract. It isn't like you can't locate it somewhere inside.
Exactly. So it's like it's actually present in the whole body. Yes, you can tell the function of the mind, happens through the brain, you can say. But then, mind element is actually, it's not, kind of a hardware, you can say. Just like in a computer.
Like we can see the effects, but we can't see the source.
Exactly. So it's becoming more subtle now. More subtle than the mind is the intelligence, is the buddhi. So the buddhi is more subtle than the mind also. Anywhere your body gets hurt, immediately there is a response to stimuli, right? We all have studied about it, and the healing starts taking place without even knowing. Right? You may not come to know also, but exactly the healing is happening, right? So, but then that is how the intelligence is. The effect is taking place. And more subtle than the intelligence is ego also, right? So ego is ahankar, right? So that is more subtle. That is like, you can able to understand what is ego. Ego is like ahankar, like identity of ours. So that is like ego. We actually strongly identify ourselves. If somebody hurts our ego, so you can't just locate it. Where is that ego? Kahan gaya? So these are all subtle elements and below the subtle body lies actually the spirit soul. So then actually it's like the shirt, the banyan, and then actually the body. This is just an analogy to understand that is how exactly our body, then inside our body the covering is of, there is subtle body, and then inside that is actually the spirit soul. So you can say that the spirit soul, has two layers above it. There is a subtle body and then there is a gross body, right? So this soul comprises of these three elements. So what are they? So these are called as, eternity, knowledge and bliss, because it's a subtle element, right? So, and hence it is, what it is made up of is also not very easy to, see. You can't see, right? So there is eternity, knowledge and bliss. What is eternity? Eternity means the soul is ever existing, right? So it is permanent. It is not temporary. It is ever existing, and it is full of knowledge, and then it is full of bliss. So bliss is, not just happy. Right? This is a very advanced level of happy state. Right? So these are the elements that, the gross body is made up of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The subtle body is made up of, again, that mind, intelligence, and ego, 3 elements. And the soul is made up of the more 3 elements: eternity, knowledge, and bliss. In Sanskrit, they are called as Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternal. Sat. Knowledge means Chit. Chit means knowledge. And Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ananda is bliss. And subtle body, in Sanskrit, they call it as Man, Buddhi, and Ahamkar. Man is mind, Buddhi is intelligence, and Ahamkar is ego. And the gross body, Bhumi, Apo, Anala, Vayu, Kham. So Bhumi is earth, Apo is water, Bhumi, Apo, Anala. Anala is fire, Bhumi, Apo, Anala, Vayu. Vayu is air, and Kham. Kham is ether. So Bhagavad Gita describes that very beautifully. One of the shlokas in Bhagavad Gita is that Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayu, Kham, Mano, Buddhi, Revacha. Ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakratir ashtatha. So Krishna tells to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita about this science. So it's a science, actually. Okay, great. Okay, now we are going to something very interesting, right? That what are the scientific proof now, right? Yes, we have understood logically till now, if you see, right? But now, can you give me some evidence or some logic, more logic and reason? So, by common sense, this is the first logic. That by common sense, who is this lady who is lying down on the bed? She was the former, what do you call the president of Pakistan, the Benazir Bhutto, right? So when a person dies, right, this is a common sense. Huh? So what we say is that she has passed away, isn't it? She or he has passed away, right? But then, who has passed? If you just ask a question to your own self, it's a common sense, which has become very uncommon, no doubt, right? Because the time and age that we are all living in, the common sense has become very uncommon, right? So people are no longer thinking with their commonly sense also, and that's what with just common sense we have refuted, some of the very philosophies which were there for many years, right? Like we saw in the Big Bang theory, the Darwin's theory, right? So this is another common sense, right? When a person dies, what we say is she has passed away. But if you just ask a question to yourself that who has passed, the body is still lying here, isn't it? Does it make sense? Right? So who has passed away? Right? Even we can ask a question to our own self. To the modern scientists, when they say that, they also believe that, yeah, she has passed away, right? And that's how they bury, right? In a coffin or whatever, isn't it? So who has passed? The body is still there. Yeah. So naturally, the only answer is the soul has passed away, isn't it? That means the body had somebody else who was residing in the body, who is no more now present in the body. Right? So you can't prove scientific. You just can't prove technically. Technically in the sense with the help of science, right? But then you need a spiritual science to actually understand the subject matter. And who has passed? The soul has passed, isn't it? Okay. The second proof, or we can say our observation, is consciousness. So I see the red light, isn't it? That means I am conscious about the light that is of red color. I am conscious about my memories, that is happy memories. That means I am aware, about my thinking, about my feeling, about my willing, right? A machine or a robot cannot have these three things, right? He cannot think on his own. You can put some chip and all and you can make him think. But if something goes beyond his syllabus or beyond something which you have fed into that, then it will throw you error. Out of bound exception. Right? Since we are coming from the computer background, you will always find this when you make a project or something, right? If you work in a company or you develop a project, it's a very famous error, out of bound exception or null pointer exception. Right? These are all very commonly found. So thinking, feeling and willing, right? These are the symptoms of consciousness or the soul, isn't it? When a person is able to think, feel or will, that goes to show that he is not this body, right? Because the body cannot do that. So that is the spirit soul. Now I am going to show you something very, very interesting thing, right? And this is really very interesting video that I have with me, which will actually take us to a very amazing understanding of, and that is a third, very solid proof how we can understand that we are not this body, but we are spirit soul.
In
If
Germany,
you see my screen.
in Germany, Christina's doctors are also losing their battle. Her heart will not restart. She has just minutes before her brain too shuts down.
Es wurden Defibrillationsschocks.
We were trying to jumpstart her heart with a defibrillator.
Zum Schlagen zu bringen. Gleichzeitig
And we gave her several drugs.
Seite mehrere Medikamente. Der Patientin hatte zu viel Blut.
The patient had lost too much blood. Her organs weren't getting enough.
Wo kein Mensch und ich am wenigsten
We really didn't think we could save her.
erfolgreich sein können.
Because Christina's heart has stopped pumping, many would consider her dead. Yet something seems to be happening with her mind.
Das nächste, was ich wieder weiß, ist, ja, dass ich wohl unter der Decke...
Next thing I know, I was hovering underneath the ceiling of the room. I could see down on myself laying on the operating table. And I saw the surgeons and heard them talking to each other. The scenario was pretty hectic. I realized that this was about life or death.
To help understand near-death experiences, some researchers focus on the content of these episodes.
A common element that occurs early in near-death experiences is what's called an out-of-body experience. At that time, the person seems to be able to see and hear things going on, but up from the vantage point above their body.
Okay, so what did you understand by this? Could you able to understand what the whole thing was? Keshav?
Yes, so like from what I have seen like now and from the past knowledge, like I could refer to as like astral projection or something. So like a term called, I could recall a term called astral projection which resembles with this. So like basically that only, that we are comprised of, this is like the proof kind of, that we are not only comprised of the material body.
Exactly. Very nice. Good. So that is called as near-death experience, or this is called the out-of-body experience. This lady, Christine Steen, the person, this lady who was being operated in a theater, operation theater, she was being, given the anesthesia, and she was not in the external consciousness, right? So she, they had to make her unconscious for the time being. But then, even while in that state of unconscious, she could actually recall everything that the doctors were actually conversating. Right? So how is it possible? The modern science cannot prove that. Because according to modern science, our body is made up of matter. There are some brain cells, there are some immune systems and things like that. And that is how the whole body is functioning. That is what medical science is fully made up of. They have no clue, no understanding about that, there is something called as soul, right? So this phenomena like this is like out of bound. It's like out of bound exception for modern science. So they can't actually conceive all these things, right? That goes to prove that how we are not just made up of body. So there is something else to the body also. That is spirits. Right, so there has been enough research being done on this subject matter, right? And a lot of books are being written. If you just Google it out, near-death experience or out-of-body experience, if you're more interested, you will find ample amount of books on this. It's not a new concept or something. The last proof, very solid proof, is this gentleman, right? He has really, he's a very wonderful personality. His name is Ian Stevenson, right? So he is from, Carlson. He's from University of Virginia. Right? He's a professor of psychiatry. So he has come up with his past life memories. So what he says is that there are many cases, he has found almost close to 2,000, more than that. He has found people remembering their past life memory. Who were they in their past life? Can you imagine? Now this is also, not at all found in modern science. This is also goes to show that if we had only one life, then how can we recall about past life, isn't it? And there are many, many books written, by him as well. If you just Google it out, you will get ample amount of, things. So he writes about the reincarnation. That is what is reincarnation, right? Punarjanam. Many movies have come up, right, on this also. So it's not also a new concept. Rather, it is a wonderful, solid proof that we are not just made up of matter. There is not only one life, right, but there are many lives to come. So what he tells in his theory is, many concepts which are unable to be explained by science. There is something called as phobias. Right? I'm sure you might have heard about phobias. So what is phobia is all about is when a person is about, he has got a bad experience in the previous life. Or probably he has ended his life in drowning. Right? And that's the reason why such a person, when he comes in touch with water body, any water body, even though it may be like the small swimming pool, but then he is very fearful. We have seen sometimes. Or if you go, to a very great height, you are very fearful about it. We have never gone actually. Neither any incident have happened. But then, there is a great phobia, there is a great fear that probably, I should not jump off the cliff. Right? Probably I should not die. So people are very fearful. You have never experienced. Right? Fear is basically because you had at least some experience, right? You are able to understand. Like say for example, if you have got a KT, right, in any exams or something, at least you have experience, right? What is it like a KT, to get a KT, right, in an engineering exam. Right? But then, it is your first semester, and in first semester itself, you are, having great fear about, what will happen if I get a KT or something, right? Or something like that. You are able to understand, right? You are very fearful. what makes that fear to come is actually, maybe you may have a bad experience in the past life. Right. There's another thing that Ian Stevenson writes about, that two twins, their body is totally different. So that means, their body is totally same, isn't it? They are born by splitting of the same single leg. That means same genetic material, right? But still their temperaments, their emotions and everything is totally different, right? This goes to show that we are not this body. We have, we have different emotions, right? We have different temperaments. So these are the quality of soul actually. This is one another very beautiful and very, very profound, proof. Right? Very nice. This is the video is there.
They have the same name and boyish good looks. A young boy from the bayou.
There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can read the Japanese easy as pie.
Just give me a moment.
Whoa! There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
I'm unable to play this video. Please, I'll just send you out, right? This video. Okay, I'm unable to play this. So what this video was telling is the same thing. It was just another proof, but very good video it is. It is a must watch. I'll just send you out, in the quiz again. This is, a pilot, right, named as James. But then what had happened was, he actually lost his life in the World War II. So what had happened was, when he had lost his life, in the next life, he takes birth as a small boy in one family. And right from small child only, he has a great interest and he knows everything, about, the fighter planes and everything. So he actually started driving also. He had a great passion right from childhood. So his mother used to be very tensed. But what makes my child to go after planes? And he was managing everything in such small childhood stage only. So later on, they actually this child was really he was knowing also many different parts of the plane and everything. Nobody taught to this small child. The mother became very tense that what is happening. So then later on, they actually found out and he actually went on to explain everything, what has happened in World War II and everything, So it was really a great surprise, for everyone to come to know that. So this is another proof that we can see that this is only possible, when you have this understanding about, the science of soul, right? That it is soul, which is the same, in different bodies, at different times. So when the body dies, the soul, goes along like that in the next body. It's a beautiful video. I'll just send you out, right? Okay, so I think we are almost done. There are some of the famous scientists. What do they say about the science of soul? Right? We'll just see, because we should always see because these are our heroes. Right? We have studied about them. We are studying science. So what do they say about it? Right? We should at least hear from them also. So this is Benjamin Franklin. He says, finding myself to exist in the world, I believe I shall in some shape or other always exist, right? So this is what the Benjamin Franklin says. That means he agrees that we are existing in some form or other, not in this body but in some other body we may be, but we are surely existing. Okay, maybe one of you can read. Shivam, you are able to see if you can read this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
About John Adams.
Yes.
The souls who revolted against God were placed here to transport the various species of animals, birds, reptiles, etc.
Yeah, thank you. So this is being told by John Adams, right? That he is telling that that means we are all transmigrating, right? Those who revolted against God. So that's how we are transmigrating, right? To various species of animals. Very interesting, out of the box. Yeah, can you read, Keshav? Are you able to see this? Yeah. Yeah, please go ahead, Keshav.
I am confident that there truly is such a thing as living again and living spring from the dead.
Yeah, so Socrates was one of the very interesting philosophers. Okay, so this is, one case study being done, and this had come in the Times of India as well, many years back, maybe 10, 15 years back. This came in the newspaper, right, about one girl, Sukla Gupta, remembering her past life, right? So I just took it from there only, exactly. So she was just a little more than 5 when Sri Sen Gupta and 5 other members of his family journeyed with her to Bhatpara, this is one village. And when they arrived, Sukla took the lead, right? So this small girl took the lead, in actually going to the village. When they arrived, Sukla took the lead, avoiding various possible wrong turns. She brought them straight to the house of Sri Amritlal Chakravarti, who happens to be, who was actually her father-in-law in her past life. So just see, small girl, but she remembers exactly without taking any possible wrong turns. Now this is completely, against the scientific understanding or what is today's modern science all about, right? This is only possible, this remembrance, how this remembrance has come, right? So she is able to recognize exactly her previous lifetime's house, her mother-in-law, brother-in-law, husband, daughter, right? Who was her husband in the previous life? That also she remembered. Not only that, she remembered the nickname also. होता है ना घर पे मोनू टोनू क्या क्या बुलाते हैं घर पे. So she remembers the nicknames as well. So this is only possible, right? That means the intelligence, right? The spirit soul, right, is the same, right? Otherwise, it's how it is possible, right? You cannot give any justification for that. So what happens to us at the time of death, right, is the soul gets carried to the next life. Yeah, can you read this, Keshav?
The soul leaves the gross body behind and is taken to another womb based on the quality of desires stored in the subtle body at the time of death.
So this is something interesting. As we were discussing in the last session, if you remember, last session, that if we are given the next life, then it should be based on some factor, right? So here our answer will actually be answered in this session. That it is based on what, right? We were discussing, if you remember, Keshav, we were discussing that somebody is born rich, but then somebody is not born so rich, right? He's born ugly. Somebody is very beautiful, If somebody is born ugly, right? Somebody is, right from birth, he has such a, he takes birth in an MD doctor, becomes, but then somebody is not so like that. It should be based on some factor, right? It's not by chance. So we understood there that it was by law of karma, right? So how this law of karma actually acts, right? And this is the answer actually we'll get in this session now, in its completeness. So what you read is, given in the Bhagavad Gita actually. Very interesting it is given. As a person puts on new dresses, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. It says very beautifully. Vasamsi girnani yatha vihaya navani grihanati naro aparani tatha sharirani nihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. Which explains the Bhagavad Gita very beautifully, right? That at the time of, just like if my shirt or if my dress has become torn, if it has become very old, what will I do is I will just give it up, right? And then I will accept another dress. Similarly, at the time of death, what happens is based on the quality of our desires that is shown in the subtle body. What is subtle body made up of? Can you recollect? Keshav? Subtle body is made up of what all elements?
Mind, intelligence, ego.
Perfect, exactly. So at the time of death, what is there, in the subtle body, what the mind is thinking, based on that, right? We are given the next body. This is what is also explained. Will be explained in this also slide. That on what basis the soul is awarded the next body, right? There should be some basis, right? We saw in the session also. So this is the answer for that. Please repeat after me. This is a very beautiful shloka from the Bhagavad Gita again. So you can unmute yourself and try to repeat after me. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam.
Yam vapi smaran bhava.
Tam tam evati kauteya
Sada tad bhava bhavitah.
sada tad bhava
bhavita.
What it is something interesting. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, which means that whatever state we are at the time of our death, that state, we will surely get it. Whatever we are trying to remember at the time of death, Krishna tells to Arjuna that becomes one of the factors, right? To actually decide what will be our next life. So you see all these personalities photo that I have given, right? So it is also said that it is also based on one's lifestyle, because how you live your life, that will be responsible and will actually, right, that will be your state of mind, isn't it, at the time of death also. So Krishna tells to Arjuna very clearly, without any ambiguity, that whatever you will remember at the time of death, that state you will surely get. So for example, if all these personalities that you see in the picture, if they are remembering something at the time of their death, then in the next life also, they will actually get the same kind of body what they are remembering, right? And according to the lifestyle they are choosing in this life, right? So they all will get that kind of body, right? So yeah, don't be scared. Right? So it is what is being explained very nicely. So we accept one body after quitting another depending on the desires in the mind, right? And our good or bad karma, the law of karma that we had seen in the last session. So these two becomes a very important factor to actually get the next life, that this body I will be getting. Okay, in case if you have any questions or clarifications, I think yeah, we are done with today's topic per se. In case if you have any question or clarification, then you can go ahead. If not, then we will see the last part of this session, which is what are the practical benefits of this that we did. It is very interesting. Anything that you want to ask, Keshav or Shubham?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like from the previous slides, where we have been told like the soul resides inside the body.
Correct.
So, like, and then there is this concept of mind.
Correct.
And from that video that we saw of out-of-body experiences.
Correct.
So we have that like people experience that they like leave their body, they are hovering over their body. So at that time, like they have senses. So like they can see what is going on. So they have their senses with them. So what exactly is happening is like the is it the soul that is coming out of the body? Because if soul is there, and if soul has 3 characteristics as given, that knowledge, bliss, and one more thing,
eternity. Yeah.
Eternity. So it doesn't have any senses in itself.
Okay, so good question, very thoughtful. Thank you.
And is it something like the soul and body are 2 distinct parts, and like the mind is like a bridge between them?
Exactly. So good thought about it. I really appreciate. So yes. So the soul has spiritual senses. It is explained that now this is something very basic that I told you. If you read more further, then the primary element of the soul is certainly Satchitananda. But then actually it is also described that just like it is a reflection. If you remember, I was telling you all in the beginning of the session that the actual spirit soul is just a reflection, or you can say actually our body is a reflection of the spirit soul. Our body has material senses. Similarly, the soul has also spiritual senses. So it is not made up of the material chemicals or something like eyes or something. So the soul also has that but then all of it has this properties is eternity, full of knowledge and full of bliss. It is completely knowledgeable. It is fresh, and it is it doesn't gets old and worn out and it dies. It's not like that. It doesn't emits any obnoxious or substances and things like that. It is completely spiritual. So that's why it is called a spirit soul. It is not material. It is totally opposite of material, which is called as spiritual. So it is beyond our understanding. Actually, in one sense, we can just get a clue out of it with the help of our mother. Just like we have discussed, right? That because we are at a child stage now, trying to understand who is my father or what is all this knowledge all about. So we can get a little clue out of it that yes, certainly by the logic and reason, we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And the thing that you are talking about, that the people, they are able to hover even after death, their soul, Atma Bhatakti vagere. Correct, na? You are meant to say that only.
Yeah. So I am just like that phenomenon, what is happening right there. Is it the soul leaving the body or something else?
No, it is the soul only, but then it is a little advanced concept, but I will answer it shortly as of now, since we have asked it. There are a few more sessions. With the help of that, you will be able to fully understand this question. But as of now, I will answer it shortly in the sense that when a person leaves this gross material body, what happens at the time of death? The gross body is left and being burnt. So when you burn the body, the gross elements perish. The gross body gets decomposed. Whereas the subtle elements, that means the subtle body and the soul, they both are carried forward. And that's how a person is able to remember his past life. So, so that means his mind, intelligence, and ego, they also go along with the soul when a person dies. And only at the time of liberation, you may have heard this term, right? Liberation.
Moksha prapti, yes.
Moksha, right? So only when you actually cross this entire layers, there are many layers that we will discuss little in detail in little further sessions. This topic, but since you have asked, that's what I told. I'll answer it shortly. But only at the time of that level that you can actually cross over all the material. There are many elements actually. There are total 24 coverings. Many things are there. If you actually go more deep in the study, which is one of my most favorite things that I study a lot, I read a lot. So maybe in future sessions we will surely talk about it. So, but then for the time being, I hope you are able to understand, right? So at the time of death, what happens is the subtle body and the spirit soul, they get carried to the next body. And in case if you commit a suicide or something, then what concept you are telling about hovering, that is because you are you have still not got the next flat. You are still in the waiting period. So you should have a pious credit also, a karma, right? A good or bad karma. So depending on the karma that you do, you are entitled to the next body. So in case if you don't have money, just like you get out of the flat, the owner has thrown you out of the flat, but then still you don't have any other flat to move on. So, and that's the reason why you actually roam on the streets, or you actually in the searching mode till the time you are actually already given the next body like that. Something similar happens, with the soul also. And hence the karma also plays a very important role. And that's what in the slide I mentioned, that two things are, two factors are responsible at the time of death. One is the desires in the mind. Just by you desiring that, okay, I should get, accommodated in a very nice place. I should have a very nice facility. Doesn't mean that you can go there, isn't it? You should have you should be deserving also, right? So first deserve, then desire. That's what I generally say. Does it answer your question, Keshav?
Yes, sir. Like partly I wanted to ask about that out of body experience only.
Yeah.
So like.
Thank you for asking that question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Anything else? Shivam or Keshav? If not, then we will go ahead. Now, what is the practical benefits? So it's something very interesting. So first is acquiring divine assets and freedom from demoniac nature. So I'll just take probably 10 more minutes. Although we are up with the time, is that okay? Just wanted to have your permission to go ahead.
Yes, sir. No problem.
Yes, sir.
10 more minutes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Because I value time very much. Because I do have many meetings and all. So the first is acquiring divine assets and freedom from demoniac nature. But then I need your help to quickly read out some things. These are very nice understandings. Can you read, Keshav, quickly?
I don't care who thinks what about me. Enjoy, eat, sleep, and enjoy, eat, drink, and be merry. Who cares whether others have to cry or get fried, as long as I get things my way.
Yeah, this is what generally people they talk, right? That is called a demoniac nature. People are not so bothered about in the world. But then somebody who has this knowledge of soul, yeah, can you read, Shivam?
Yes, sir. My action now will create my good, bad future. Let me learn to love all living beings as God's children. I should give up my negative qualities of arrogance, lying, stealing, hurting other for my good, and help give other peace of mind.
Yeah. So See, somebody who understands that I am spirit soul, I am not this body, that means he will try to preserve his karma, right? Means karma means we discuss, right? Every action has an equal and opposite reaction because we don't have only one life, right? So now you understand from this session that there are many lives to come ahead. So depending on how I live this life, with what qualities I am looking after, right? What is my attitude in life? That's why we did that very beautiful session. If you all remember, we did that webinar, the power of positive attitude. So a person who has this holistic understanding about life in general, right? That my deeds, my actions are responsible. I am responsible for my deeds and actions. So either I can develop some demoniac quality and I can just enjoy, eat, drink and be merry, right? But then if I don't have this concept of soul, that there is something called as karma also. So in the next life, depending on my karma and depending on my desires, depending on my lifestyle that I choose to live, right, I will get that kind of body in the next life. So if a person doesn't have that idea of this understanding of spirit, soul, the karma philosophy, then he will be least bothered. He will just live his life on his own, right? But then when I have a good understanding, so the right hand side conversation, if you see, that is actually you are having full understanding about life. You have the understanding about the soul. I hope you are able to understand. The second is freedom from lamentation, fear, and illusion. Yeah, please read, Keshav.
Alas, this is the 4th time I am failing in mathematics paper. Now I am finished. I am hopeless. I don't think I will ever be able to clear this subject. And my father will never let me give up my studies. What to do? Better hang myself.
Yeah, and of course, don't commit suicide. But this is what a person thinks, right? When he doesn't have much understanding. On the other side, yeah, please read, Shivam.
Yes, sir. Oh, I got a failed marks in the mathematics paper. I need to take someone's help to clear it next time. Maybe I will go to Arvind, who is smart in mathematics. He can help me.
Yeah, who is smart in mathematics, he can help me, right? So a person is very hopeful. So he is not worried too much. So when a person has this understanding about the soul, then he also has understanding about the subtle body, right? That yeah, it happens. So I should not hang myself. Why? Because if a person doesn't have this understanding, again, he thinks that there is only one life. If I am getting troubled in this life, let me end this life. So person doesn't, he is in ignorance. Whenever he feels that moroseness and life doesn't have much thing to live. Like I don't know whether you are aware or no. Recently I came to know one boy in IIT Hyderabad. Now we are in SPIT. People really strive so much hard, right, to get into IIT. But this boy in IIT Hyderabad, he was in final year of engineering, got placed, but then started thinking that what will I do after getting job? After all, I have to work under a boss, which is so troublesome. I have heard from my seniors and so many others. I see the life is so troublesome. I think better that I die only. And he committed suicide. It was so strange actually. So yeah, I mean, people, they commit suicide like anything. Another point, NIT Warangal, because we have our this clubs, this Vesta club, we do many programs. So I have many friends, we have many contacts, and we actually have many sessions. So that's how I got to know all these things. One boy in NIT Warangal, one of my friends was telling that he got second position in his final year. Till first 3 years of engineering, he was always first rank only. But now for the first time in 7th semester, that too because of some placement or other reason, he got good placement also. But then because of which he got second position in his class and his like that. So he committed suicide. Now, for a person like a mediocre level, like you and me, probably, you know, if we would have been in that place, right, we would be dancing. Arey, wow, second aaya. Right, put a class for second aaya, right? So we can just think and understand that when a person doesn't have a higher goal in life, when a person doesn't have this understanding about karma, about soul, then one always thinks that, you know, there is only this life and let me finish it now. So he actually doesn't feel that, oh no, I can reform myself and this life is very precious. And this is a chance that I have got in this human form of life. We don't know whether what form of life we may get in the next life, because we understood from today's session that, you know, the next life we can get any species, right, out of many other species of life. I hope you are able to understand. And the third thing is universal brotherhood, right? People they speak about a lot this topic like brotherhood, sisterhood, right? Bhaichara ki bhavna, right? Yeah, can you read, Keshav?
Your forefathers, Hitler, killed my forefathers, Jew. But fortunately, I have no enmity with you, because I know by grace of Lord Krishna that we are not the superficial bodies but spirit souls, like the driver is different from the car.
Exactly. So this is a correct understanding, isn't it? Whereas, yeah, can you read, Keshav, Shivam?
Yes. What divides us when ex-blacks, Indians or Pakistanis, okay, Hindus or Muslims, rich or poor, educated or illiterate, beautiful or ugly, or only bodies consciousness.
Yeah, thank you. So we can see that actually universal brotherhood will be able to cultivate only when we rise above this bodily platform, isn't it? Otherwise, we will think that, oh, I am white, you are black, I am Indian, you are Pakistani, right? I am educated, you are illiterate, right? People are fighting for countries, for nations, isn't it? China and India, isn't it? So many people are fighting over, isn't it? That give me my border, this and that. And you will see, right, the whole news is all about that only. So people are, because people are in their bodily consciousness, that's why you can never come to such, you know, such a state of accepting a universal brotherhood. When only you understand, you know, some higher goal in life, like what you see in the left hand side, right? So although people are from white, black, you know, one is from, you know, Jew background, right? Another is from, you know, his forefathers were Hitler and things like that, right? So, but then still they are all united. Why? Because they are considered that we are not this body, but we are spirit soul. We are part of Krishna. We are part of God. So they are identifying, you know, with their Supreme Father, universal government. Right? We had done this session, right? The last session where we are discussing about universal government. So they are accepting a universal fatherhood. So unless you accept a universal father, you cannot actually have this understanding of universal brotherhood. Does it make sense? Yeah. The fourth thing is positive outlook and attitude. Yeah, please read, Keshav.
Instead of blaming my friend for not being cooperative, let me learn to help him and be more kind and courteous with him. Then hopefully he will change. Unless I set a good example, what is the point demanding the same from others? Tolerance, patience, considering everyone to be potentially.
Yeah. So right. So people, they actually, if you see, normally, you know, two friends that start blaming each other. That is तेरे वजह से हुआ ऐसा. It's because of you that, you know, I got this and that. So nobody feels like to change. Yeah. Please read, Shivam.
Yes, sir. Everybody is selfish. Just see how he is not cooperating with me. I feel lonely and corner. I think I also should learn to become selfish, harsh, and arrogant to service and grow in life. Then I will show others who I am. No wisdom that everyone is originally pure child of God, but now they are cover up. Yeah.
Yeah. So see, so person who doesn't have this understanding that So then if one doesn't have this wisdom, right, that we are all connected, and you can only feel that because when you have this knowledge of soul, because we are part of the Supreme Soul, we are part of God. So that's why this knowledge helps a lot if you look. And I think this is the last one, right? That is meditation for peace, happiness, and prosperity. Yeah, please speak. Keshav.
I am not this body, I am pure soul, a child of God, originally pure and with abundant potential. My heart is full of love, joy, serenity, compassion for others. I'll chant and bring out my true nature. My defects are all superficial to the soul, and I can completely get rid of them.
Yes, so such a person thinks like that. And on the other hand, Shivam.
Yeah, sir. I'm black, short, ugly. Will anybody look me? I hardly get a good rank. I will no talent in sport. I come for a poor family. I don't know whether I will earn my degree and pass out of the college. Life doesn't seem worth living because I'm not like any of the great heroes.
Yeah, life doesn't seem worth living because I am not like any of the great heroes. So a person who is not having this understanding, right? So he will always think he'll get depressed in life. So this is just a material outlook, right? Maybe yeah, you may be black, you may be short, you may be ugly, right? But then, this is all related to this body, right? Isn't it? But are we this body? No, right? I am pure soul, child of God. So originally I am very pure, I am Satchitananda. So, and we can understand by this also that why everyone wants to gain knowledge, because originally we are spirit soul. We are actually, our original state is that we want to be in full knowledge. And that's why people want to always call themselves as intelligent. You have seen any people who want to call themselves as Buddhu or Murk? No, right? Because everyone originally is actually spirit soul. And that's how people want to be called themselves as very knowledgeable or intelligent and things like that. So yeah, so such thing is only possible, right? When we have this understanding about the spirit soul. Okay, I think we are done with the total. Oh, I think I have one more. It is right use of resources. So what is the right use of resources? Yeah, please read, Keshav. Yeah, please read this. This is the last one, Keshav.
Yes, sir. So the slide hasn't been loaded yet.
Yeah, please read.
Look at the cows. Look at the cows. They are suffering without food. Let me arrange some grass for her. Every living being is a child of God, and they deserve to live. If I can preach to a few rich men of my country that all wealth and resources belong to God and should be shared among all his creatures, there will be no poverty in the country.
Exactly, right? So because people are not identifying themselves as child of God, they think that, oh, I can kill any animal, right? So if they are in a bodily conscious, please read, Shivam.
Yes, sir. I will put 100 crore dollars in the Swiss bank account so that even my son cannot touch my money. Now, whether I am behind bars or moving around in cars, I will no worry. It's all my money.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope you are able to understand, right? So this is right use of resources, right? So a person who is in the bodily consciousness, who is always, egoistic, right? Who is always worrying about his own self, right? He will always be thinking like that. But whereas a person who has started identifying, his own self, not only his own self as child of God, but then when you have this outlook in life, then what to speak about you? Even there are animals, everyone is child of God. So how can I give suffering to somebody else, isn't it? So such kind of, very divine qualities one will automatically cultivate with the help of this understanding. Okay. Good. I hope it was very useful. Some of these benefits, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions?
Sir, I have the question about like the previous topic that we discussed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. So like we know about these people. Like we say like what they have got some this Oculus, the power, like self-awakened or knowledged. Like.
Yeah, sorry. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, so like we say na ki, they have like the connection with God. So like all the knowledge they have, like those who wrote the Vedas. So we call those like awakened people, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. So like we have these layers, right, in the body, as we discussed earlier.
Correct.
Like what are when we are saying that knowledge inside that one soul of ours, is that the knowledge that these people were able to collect, or is it that like in Gita it is said that every soul is the part and parcel of God itself? So is it that because they were able to reach inside of themselves they could connect and get the knowledge?
Good question again. So when you may have heard about this term, I'm sure, about self-realization, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yes. I wasn't getting the word.
What is self-realization, Self-realization means to know yourself not independent of your real identity. You understand yourself, you discover yourself. That's what is our whole course is named as. And when you discover yourself as an individual, as a spirit soul, as a part of God, because we have seen also now scientifically, logically, reasonably, and we have seen the benefits in today's session also. But what happens when we, cultivate this understanding? So surely Bhagavad Gita also tells that the Vedas are written by Vyasadeva, right? I was telling you in the last session, right? We were discussing in the Shabda Pramana section that the Vedas and all these self-realized people, that's why they are called as self-realized. That means they have started identifying themselves more with the soul than the body. So we can also call ourselves as self-realized, provided we act on that platform. So these are some scenarios I told, right? And that's the reason why I discussed the practical benefits. So we can see in our dealings, in our exchanges, in our conversations, that there is a great chance for us to act on either bodily platform or on the soul platform. So like Vedas are written by Vyasadeva, who is literally incarnation of Krishna himself, right? We were discussing. So he is actually empowered. He is a literary incarnation of Krishna himself. So he is actually above human beings. We cannot actually compare, with him at all. But yes, we can surely, understand with the help of Vedas. They tell us that when we, cultivate a lifestyle, close to what has been discussed, right? So maybe next session we will discuss more on this subject matter only, that how we can develop this perspective and how we can also become more and more self-realized ourselves, so that we don't unnecessarily, or we don't try to misuse these resources, right? So we are talking about right use of resources. So next presentation is all about, what are given in Vedas more. So these are all given in Vedas, that who we are, what is my identity. So next time if somebody calls you or asks you, who are you? So I'm sure, you will, of course, don't tell that you are spirit soul. I mean,
there is like a proper answer to that. Very famous line, Aham Brahmasmi.
Yeah, of course. There are many, there are actually many reasons for that as well. When you call as Aham Brahmasmi, so actually Aham, in that sense, we are actually referring to ourselves as spirit soul only. So Brahmasmi actually refers to that I am that Brahman. I am, part of God actually. I am not God, but I am part of God. That is the actual understanding of Aham Brahmasmi also. So yes, you are correct. Thank you for asking that question. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Anything else that you want to ask? Shivam?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So then I will tell you something, last but not the least, of course, is something about mantra meditation or something about art of meditation that also we have as a part of this session. So I want to know from you that have you any time experienced about some meditation or anything, because it is very much connected to our this session, which is Science of Soul. Because how we can, as Keshav, you have asked a very brilliant question, how we can become self-realized more. So meditation actually helps us to actually very quickly understand ourselves, not from a bodily perspective, but we can rise above the bodily platform very easily with the help of meditation. So I want to know from you what understanding you have about meditation. What are your thoughts? Have you any time, have come across any kind of meditation, or what do you think meditation is all about?
So I have been like, when I was like in 8th or 9th grade, at that time I came across this term called chakra meditation.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I practiced that for some time. And after that, like I got basically what we can say, a mantra or a stotra for myself.
Okay.
It comes from one of the names of Vishnu in the Vishnu Sahasranama.
Oh wow, amazing. Achha.
So like that was like a mantra given to me to recite.
Okay.
So that was like what meditation looks at the outside. But like what I can infer from what exactly is meditation is like if we think of it like mind control something. So it's like our mind is very turbulent. So if we can reduce that, if we can get it inside in control, we can make it calm, we can bring stability in the mind itself. That time we start seeing things clearly. Just like if we like throw a pebble in the water, and if we are looking at it, so we can't see our reflection. But once it goes calm, once it's like settles down, after that only we can see. So maybe that is kind of the same thing that meditation does to us.
Okay, great, nice. Very happy to hear some of your understanding about meditation. Good, very nice. Very nice, I appreciate. Okay, have you come across any term called meditation, Shivam? What is your understanding?
No, I don't have that much of experience like about meditation like Keshav, but I'm used to do like Sukhasan, Pranayam, that type of like for 5 to 10 minutes in day, or just peace. Yeah, but not type of like proper asanas like Keshav.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So many people feel meditation means, a bodily exercise, right? That is what generally people have termed out of this whole word yoga also. they feel that yoga means some bodily exercise. But actually yoga means, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, yoga means to reconnect ourselves. So this is a very broad term, yoga, when you say yunjate iti yogam. That means when we reconnect ourselves, just like, for example, if I am having this body, if I take my hand and if I cut my hand, now it is the same hand, but then is it of any use, the cutted hand which is there in front of me? The same hand which was some time back, connected to my body, but then if I cut it and I keep it in front of me, you think you are going to shake hand with that with that cutted hand? No, right? We will not dare also, right? We will like to throw it away as soon as possible and we will be very scared. We will run away probably, right? But then that same hand, when it is connected back, right, by any means, right, you figure it out and you connect it back, right, with the body, then it is of so much use, isn't it? Similarly, we as an individual, yoga means actually on a broader sense to reconnect ourselves. So the Vedic scriptures, they helps us to understand this terminology of yoga very nicely. So one another analogy is used to help us understand. Like Keshav, you gave a very beautiful example of that, rock put in a river and there are bubbles and things like that. Very nice. I like that. So another analogy is also given in the scriptures that just like you water the root of the tree, what happens is the whole tree gets nourished. So yoga is like that. When we try to reconnect ourselves with that supreme spirit which is God, then we get great strength, we become stabilized, as you can see on the slide also, right? That you come to a very stable platform, you come to a platform of goodness. What is goodness? Goodness is a mode, it's like a sattva guna. So you can reach to that state. It means calm peacefulness, wherein you can actually rationally think about something. Like I suppose both of you, are almost in a state of goodness, for example, and that's the reason why you are still there. We are connected, right? Still on Zoom. There are so many other people, may not be connected, isn't it? Or are not connected. So we are stable, isn't it? We can say, right, in one sense, that we are stable at the moment. Right? So there are many forms of meditation now. Since today we'll just talk about little bit about meditation, maybe 2 more minutes or something, and then in the next session we will discuss very little more about it. Today I just thought of touching this concept. In the next session we will talk a little more at the end, more about some practical form of meditation. Especially, there are many forms of meditation. Some people they meditate on some picture. Some people meditate on, some flames, some flames of fire or something. I don't know what other forms of meditation they do, right? If you, some people they meditate on nothing. I don't know how they meditate on nothing. So there are various forms of meditation. Some people they just close their eyes and they meditate on the inhales and exhales, right? What all Ramdev Baba and my God, so many things are there. Some people just meditate on their own self. I don't know how, but they say just close your eyes and think between the 2 eyebrows or whatever. Or some people they say that you just half close your eyes and just look at the tip of the nose. My Lord, so many things are there. Some people meditate that you meditate on your back, some chakra or something, whatever. So simple meditate that you just think that you are alone, right? My Lord, so many different forms of meditation are there. But out of which is the most stable form of meditation that we can practice in this age and time that we are all living, right? We are living in a very difficult time, right? Especially the world has become more difficult now because we have to keep social distance now. Right? It's a novel coronavirus has spread, right? It's the pandemic situation that we are all going through. So we need much more, we need to stabilize ourselves much more to actually get us out of this whole situation, right? And to come to a very stabilized platform. I hope that makes sense. In the next session, we will talk about more, right? About what all meditation means are there, and which is the most bona fide means of meditation, and what all the major traditions that we have in India, right? What all do these major traditions tells about meditation, right? So there is an experiment being done. I just give you some small gist of it, and then in the next session we will talk more on this. For a time you just see this and remember, and from this we will carry forward in the next session. So there are many states, and that is called a Dr. Wohler's experiment that they have done, right? Wherein you are in a sleepy zone, or you are in a drowsiness zone, or you are in a relaxed alert zone, or active or hyperactive, right? So which state do you want to be generally? Which state you would like to be in? Keshav?
Somewhere relaxed and active.
Pardon?
Somewhere between relaxed and active.
Yeah, so basically the orange, right? The relaxed alert zone, isn't it? So yes, so that state is a the state which should be actually seen after. That's a very stable and at the same time a very active state. Which state do you want to be in, Shivam?
Yeah, I think relax alert zone and active zone both are better. So I will middle between relax and active.
Yeah.
Like sometimes active zone and sometimes relax alert.
Okay. Yeah. Because always if you want to be in the active zone, then you will actually also very soon go to hyperactive then. Right? Because you want to be in a relaxed zone, right? Like right now, I suppose you are in a relaxed state, right? You are not in a kind of hyperactive, or you are not very active also, right? When you keep yourself relaxed, you can go for a prolonged period of time, isn't it? If you keep yourself active throughout this session, then also you may actually switch off after some time, right? But then when you are in relaxed, but at the same time you are alert, I suppose, right? You are alert also. Yeah, you are alert, right? Because you are answering all of my questions and things like that, right? So meditation actually helps us to get into this relaxed alert zone, and that is what a state that we want to achieve, right, in our life, right, to become stabilized. So okay, so we'll talk in the next session. Yeah, so it is very important practice for all of us, right? If you want to really become stabilized in our life, right? So we'll talk more on this, right? So I really thank for your time. I'm sorry, we have got it extended today with our session because, but we had surely discussed very vital aspects in today's session. I hope you will appreciate it, and you have much more learnings from today's session. And as I said, that we will be surely sending you the quiz as well. And with that, I will be sending you some of these videos which I have shown you. I hope you are finding a great help, Keshav, with the help of these quizzes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you are able to recollect, right? In a very short, some 4 or 5 questions that we put out, and then you are able to actually get the whole session ka crux. So for this session also, again, we will send the quizzes. So try to solve that and send us that quiz. So we are, we'll be evaluating it and then we'll share with you. Right? So thanks for joining. Right, once again, Keshav and Shivam.
Thank you.
Yeah. Over to Kedar. You want to take over now?
Yes, Sharad sir. So thank you very much for taking out your precious time and giving us this deep knowledge and wisdom. And in this session, we learned how this about the science of soul, and that we are not this body and matter, but we are spirit soul and part and parcel of God. And we learn various things about reincarnation scientifically, and the real life examples which had happened in past, and practical benefits of knowledge of soul in everyday life, so we can apply in it. And in next session we will surely learn about art of meditation, which Sharad sir has given us the gist of the next session, which is going to happen.
Yeah, so next session will be on topic 3. You can see in that list that we have sent you out. So we'll talk about more about Vedas, the Vedic wisdom, right? That what makes us call us ourselves as humans, right? So Vedas, they talk more about it because Vedas are like our manual. So it has more very nicely described about what distinguishes us from the four-legged animals, right? We are also like animals, but we are having 2 legs and 2 hands, right? But the animals have 4 legs, isn't it? But then what distinguishes, right? And what are the real problems of life? Surely the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus has become the pandemic, but can we rise above such situation? And what are more, or you can say, real problems of life? Are they real problems of life? What is a real problem? When you can call a real problem or a problem as a real problem? So there are many problems that we have gone through in the past also. Many pandemics we have gone through, right? As I was telling Keshav, right, in the last session I showed you, many pandemic strikes have happened. So are these problems permanent problems or temporary, right? And if it is temporary, then what are the real problems? So how to solve those problems and things like that we will discuss in the next session. Next session is going to be very interesting, and that will actually take us more in the more detailed subject matter, right, of discussing about more science and spirituality, right? So we can have the next session. When should we have then, Keshav? Day after tomorrow is okay? Like 1 day gap?
Yes, sir. Day after tomorrow is fine.
It's okay? Okay. So we will have the next session day after tomorrow. Probably the same time is okay, 4:45. Or in case if you want to change.
No, sir. 4:45 is good.
Is that okay? Okay. So
yes, sir.
We will complete by this time. So thank you once again for joining the session.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So hope to see both of you in the next session. Yeah, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.